Hello and welcome to the April 28th episode of Beacon Web News. I'm Sym Kehr. The 19th Annual Undergraduate Research Conference was on April 22nd. This was the second year the conference had to be virtual. However, this year the conference was done in a synchronous format. The URC Chair Jenna Sciuto and student presenters spoke on how the conference went and if some virtual aspects should remain in the future.
Well, one reason we wanted to be sure to keep it going even during the pandemic is I think it's really important for students to have a space to share all of the efforts that they do around research and creative work, and to be expecting that and not have it, I think would be detrimental to the community. For this particular conference, because we had a feeling it was going to be virtual early on, we started pretty much talking about it last August. And at that point, we still didn't know what the semesters were going to look like, but we wanted to plan for all eventualities and ended up maybe making the call in the middle of the fall semester that we would definitely be virtual.
This is the second year the conference has been virtual, and some changes to the format were made.
I think the synchronous format was a big difference. That we were able to have in-person live conversations still was key.
I spoke with some student presenters about their experience with the virtual URC.
Going virtual is going to, I think, pioneer for us to do something like this in the future. It makes it more accessible to people, I think, too.
It was a lot less stressful, to say the least, because you're not standing up in front of a room of people presenting, and it just kind of takes that like public speaking fear factor away. But the interaction was still good. People still asked questions, and they were engaged, and people attended, which I had more people in my presentation than I expected, which I was really excited about. But the only thing that I kind of missed was it being like an all-day event.
I feel like it was definitely easier in some ways. I was able to, I guess, pre-record my presentation, which was nice. So it wasn't really left to like me on the spot presenting in front of a lot of different people. So I guess it was less nerve-wracking in a way. But also I feel like it would have been nice, obviously, to have the in-person conference experience with everyone there.
Kind of like mixed feelings, because it was good, it was virtual, and because I could record it, so it kind of lifted off some pressure. But at the same time, I think it would have benefited having a in-person presentation because getting more practice.
96 attendees filled out a survey providing feedback on the event.
I was impressed with how smooth it went, all things considered. I was just reviewing some of the feedback, and I'm pleasantly surprised that most of it is positive. There were some technical glitches around the poster sessions, and so most of the negative feedback had to do with that. The virtual format, one benefit is that I do think there were more folks in individual sessions than we'd be able to have in a physical space. So that was good. And then there was some positive feedback around that it's more accessible. So folks who don't live near MCLA were still able to join events. There were alum who were able to attend certain panels, and I think parents. So to have that be more accessible is a plus.
According to Sciuto, some of the feedback suggested keeping aspects of the virtual format, and some student presenters agreed.
It would be awesome if the MCLA students could continue presenting in person, but then having some sort of like live interaction where people on other campuses could maybe log in and watch, which that'd be cool in my opinion. I would love to interact with other schools. I won't be here next year, but I've been at conferences where there's multiple schools coming, and the people you meet and just knowing what other people get to research at other schools, it's a really interesting experience.
This helped the URC figure out what can be done virtually and what can't be done virtually, And I think some aspects of the URC can be done virtually, or that can be an option for people that would like to do it virtually. And I think what you said with families wanting to see, their presenters or other people from outside, MCLA wanting to see presenters, I think that would be a good option for MCLA to stream this or to have presenters come in virtually.
I think that one thing that could be really helpful is, especially with like the poster sessions, I think having those online and accessible for students to go back to see, even if recording like the in-person presentations or something like that, I think that could be a good tool to not only like promote the conference, but also just if students want to go back and see things they didn't get to see because they were at something else or something like that.
With MCLA having gone remote, the Freel Library has had to pivot what resources are being offered to students. Reporter Mei Craig has more information on resources students can access through the library.
With an ongoing pandemic and a recent campus evacuation, the MCLA library moved from hybrid learning to remote learning. I teamed up with Beacon writer Mariama to learn more about what types of resources the library will be offering to students remotely. Due to COVID-19 guidelines and safety regulations, the library has definitely seen a dramatic decrease in the number of students, but there still has been a steady number of online questions and requests from MCLA students. According to MCLA librarian Emily Alling, the library has put together a Go webpage at http://library.mcla.edu/library-to-go for students to access and look through all the library collections and services during remote learning. Emily Alling also mentioned that the biggest change that has happened to the library since the 2020 campus shutdown is the usage of student space. Before the pandemic, the library had just launched a learning common that offered more space, flexible seating, and study groups for students to use, which led to an increase of students visiting the building. However, once the pandemic broke out last March, the library closed and then reopened in August, which forced the librarians to make a few changes around the building. Those changes included temporarily closing the study rooms and lounges, removing chairs, reducing hours, and creating a reservation system on school laptops. The librarians are still here to help answer student questions, and most of the library books, articles, and videos are available online 24/7 through the MCLA login. Students can also text, chat, email, or set up Teams or phone appointments with a librarian. You can contact the librarians for help until 10 p.m. on Sunday to Thursdays and until 5 p.m. on Fridays. For the fall of 2021, the library is cautiously optimistic about students returning in the fall and hope to open more hours, add back some seating capacity, and see more students in person. For Beacon Web News, I'm Mei Craig.
That's it for this week. To stay up to date with BWN, you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/MCLABWN. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next semester.